On February 5th, Deadline Hollywood broke the scoop that Amazon are developing a series based on Conan the Barbarian. A series which by all accounts will be based on the original stories by Robert E. Howard. This caused fans of Howard's original Conan, as well as fans of the comic book Conan, which is based on those original stories, to pop the champagne. Fans of the John Milius interpretation of Conan, on the other hand, the one portrayed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, were less amused, as many of them don't know, or even care to know about the original Conan. They just want to see Schwarzenegger come back to finish the trilogy. In this video, I will go over what little is known about the Amazon Conan series so far, where this leaves the announced Legend of Conan, which was set to star Arnold Schwarzenegger, and finally, my hopes and worries for the Amazon series. According to Deadline Hollywood, the ones spearheading the project are Colony co-creator Ryan Condal, Game of Thrones director Miguel Sapochnik, and Warren Littlefield, the executive producer of Fargo and The Handmaid's Tale. That seems like some serious talent right there. Conan and Robert E. Howard custodian Fredrik Malmberg, who we have talked about before here at Midnight's Edge, will serve as executive producer alongside Mark Wheeler. For Amazon, the series falls into their push into big fantasy genre drama series with broad appeal in the mold of Game of Thrones, as they are also developing a Lord of the Rings TV series. So between Lord of the Rings and Conan, Amazon now have the giants of both the fantasy genre and the subsidiary sword and sorcery genre. Ryan Condal, who admits to having a personal obsession with the material, appears to serve as the showrunner for the series that will take Conan back to his literary origins. Driven out of his tribal homelands, Conan wanders the mysterious and treacherous world of civilization, where he searches for a purpose in a place that rejects him as a mindless savage. That is music to my ears right there. Fans of Schwarzenegger's Conan, on the other hand, generally don't share my excitement, because where does this leave Legend of Conan? The long-awaited King Conan movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger was first announced back in October of 2012. That is now approaching 6 years ago, so what happened? What is the current state of that project? Well, what happened was that at the time the movie was announced, Universal were in dire need of hits, and Schwarzenegger was still planning his long-awaited comeback to Hollywood, following the end of his second term as Governor of California. But as it would turn out, Schwarzenegger's comeback wasn't nearly as successful as hoped. On the contrary, all the movies headlined by him at this time either underperformed or outright flopped. Meanwhile, Universal's streak of bad luck ended as they developed several other hits and franchises on their own. Instead of the exciting opportunity it once seemed to be, pumping $100+ million into another Conan starring Schwarzenegger started to look like a much more risky endeavor than originally thought. Then came July 1st of 2015. That is when Terminator Genisys opened in the US and underperformed. After that, development on Legend of Conan came to a grinding halt. Schwarzenegger still spoke about it from time to time. There was some script work being done, but for all intents and purposes, the plug had been pulled. When the Conan license was up for renewal last year, Universal allowed it to revert back to its ultimate owner, Fredrik Malmberg's Cabinet Holdings. In other words, King Conan starring Arnold Schwarzenegger is dead. It is not in development, and chances are it will never happen. The time to make that movie was back in the early 90s, when John Milius wanted to direct it and even had the script King Conan Crown of Iron ready to go. But at that time, it was Arnold who didn't want to prioritize another Conan. Now, years later when he wants to do it, it is too late. Milius is no longer capable of directing, and the studio, once keen to make it, no longer wants to fund it. The window of opportunity has closed. There is probably a life lesson in there somewhere. But there will still be more Conan. My biggest hope is that the talent involved really are the big fans of Robert E. Howard's original character and the world he inhabits as they claim to be. If they manage to find a way to adapt the original source material as skillfully as, say, The Handmaid's Tale, then we are in good hands. To that end, I hope that anyone who wants to take any influence from what Milius and Schwarzenegger did to the character are shown the door long before production commences, because that is what caused the downfall of the 2011 movie starring Jason Momoa. That movie was supposed to be what the Amazon series is announced to be, a clean reboot bringing the character back to his literary roots. Unfortunately, Avi Lerner and the producers at Millennium had other ideas. They didn't care for the original Conan. No, they were fans of the John Milius movie and wanted to remake it. While Malmberg and the Paradox producers tried to make it as much like Conan as possible. The end result was a Frankensteinian mix between the Milius Conan, Howard's Conan, and the very worst of Marvel's Savage Sword of Conan, all of which are mutually exclusive. The resulting movie didn't do anyone any favors. Stick to the original stories. Create new connecting stories in their mold and do them well, and they can't go wrong. My biggest worry, though, is the surrounding marketplace. A series like Conan landing on a digital streaming service like Amazon, or Hulu, or Netflix should in principle be awesome. Not only because they can do the necessary serialized high-end storytelling, but because the series won't be cancelled due to outdated Nielsen ratings that don't show the full picture. But as we've covered before, we are heading for a new format war of sorts between different streaming service providers, and they will use genre characters we love as pawns to win subscribers to their service. It doesn't matter how good the Conan series is. If enough members of the audience decide that between Hulu, Netflix and the upcoming Disney service, they aren't getting another, then both Conan and Amazon would be screwed. Note, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm not saying Amazon will lose the streaming format wars. Maybe 5 years from now they will be kicking everyone's ass. The point I'm making is that in the streaming service war for more subscribers, there will be casualties. I just hope Conan won't be among them. If you want to learn more about the differences between the Milius Conan and the original literary Conan, then check back for my Conan the Barbarian retrospective, coming soon. Till then, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.
If you like this video, then please hit that subscribe button. Due to recent changes made by YouTube, we also encourage all of our subscribers, both new and old, to please hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button as well, so you will be notified when new videos are uploaded. Be sure to check back for news and analysis of the happenings and corporate politics behind the scenes of your favorite genre movies, as well as explorations of your favorite characters and their backgrounds and context here at Midnight's Edge.